Hi, everybody. It's Miss Greta with Keep County Beautiful here today. I hope you all are doing well and having a good day. I know last video, Miss Mika talked with you a little bit about beautification, and she talked to you a lot about how important plants and trees are for us. We're important to them and they're important to us too. We rely on each other. And I know Miss Mika told you a little bit about how we can use those plants and trees and flowers to beautify our communities. And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about some other things that we can do to beautify our neighborhoods and our communities. While it's really important that we're doing things to make sure that all of our areas are safe, like that we don't have any broken windows, broken glass, loose nails or boards or things, we do those kinds of repairs in our buildings to make sure that they're nice and safe. And also, it makes it a little bit prettier to look at, doesn't it? Because looking at an old broken out window, not only is it kind of dangerous, it's also just kind of ugly to look at, isn't it? So those are some things that we can do to make things a little bit prettier as we're just making things more safe for us as well. Also, just things that we do around our area, like here in downtown Newport, to keep things clean, keeping things clean. And I'm not just talking about not littering. We've talked a lot about how important it is to not litter and to keep trash and recyclables where they go. But maybe things like how our street sweepers in the city of Newport go by. They usually go through early in the morning is when I see them. And they collect not just any litter that somebody might have dropped out, but extra dirt and dust, and this time of year probably some fallen leaves from the ground to keep the streets really clean. And those are some things that we probably don't even really notice, that the street sweepers come through and made things really clean. Or maybe on our big bridge there, where in the summertime we plant flowers over the Pigeon River on the way into town by where the Riverwalk is. We plant those pretty flowers in the summer, and that makes it nice and beautiful. Also, sometimes they'll go through there and they will wash that bridge really good. They'll use a big pressure washer and they'll wash it really good. That makes it nice and clean. And it's just prettier to look at that way, isn't it? They have to do this a lot with the Riverwalk itself. If you've ever gone down there and walked up and down the sidewalk, or maybe rode your bicycle up and down that sidewalk, or maybe gone fishing in the river, the ducks like to come down there and they leave a mess behind. And pretty often, especially in the summer, they've got to go back through there and they pressure wash that sidewalk all the way up and down to make sure that it stays nice and clean and it looks beautiful. So a lot of things that we do just to keep things safe and to keep things clean. We may not even think about it, but it's actually part of beautification. We're making the environment prettier, more beautiful to look at as we're keeping things safe and keeping things clean. And now something a little bit more fun, in my opinion, way to beautify our communities and our neighborhoods is to use art. Now, what is art? Art is all kinds of different things. Art is the drawings that you make at school. Art is the sculpture that you made out of Play-Doh or clay. That is art, right? Art is if we take wood and we whittle it into a shape, that is art. If you know someone that knits or crochets, that's a kind of art. There's all kinds of different arts. Arts is in all kinds of different places in life that we don't even really think about all the time. And art is an awesome, really fun way to beautify our communities. So one big fun way to use art to beautify our communities is something called a mural. A mural is when we take a big wall or a large surface somewhere and we paint a big picture on it. Now, some of your schools have murals in them. Some of your schools have landscape murals, which is like a picture of the mountains and beautiful outdoors. Some of your schools have your mascots painted on a wall somewhere in the school. So some of you may look at a mural in your school from time to time and didn't even think about it. But that mural has made your school a little bit more beautiful in that area where it is, hasn't it? And if you've ever been to visit any cities, a lot of big cities will have big fancy murals. Some cities, like in Chattanooga, will have a whole district, an arts district, where there are murals everywhere on lots of buildings. Did you know that here in Newport, we have some murals right here in Cott County too? We do. We have some murals right here in downtown Newport. There's a new mural that has just gone up in October that is painted down on 325 East Broadway in Newport. So that's just down there a little bit across from the courthouse. A little bit across from the courthouse. And you will only see it if you're going up. If you're traveling west, so if you're going away from Food City and like you're going straight through downtown on Broadway, across from the courthouse, you'll see a big passion flower on the wall. It's kind of tucked away. It's almost like it's playing hide and seek, so you have to look really carefully. It's on the wall of a yoga studio. And inside that yoga studio, if you ever drive by when it's a little bit dark and anybody's there with the lights on, there is a big, huge mural that covers that whole back wall. I happen to have a picture of it I'll show you. A big mural. It covers the whole back wall. And it makes that little building, that little yoga studio, look so beautiful. It's so inviting. It makes you want to come in and sit down and do yoga. It's so cool. So there's art in our community here that makes it more beautiful in a lot of ways, inside and out. Another cool beautification project that Keep Cott County Beautiful has helped Artscapes to do several years ago is the courthouse benches. So I bet everybody at some time has been to the courthouse, maybe last year for the street festival, or maybe if mom or dad is needing to renew their car tags or something like that. Did you all notice that there are colorful benches all around the yard of the courthouse, in the front and in the back? There are. And I'll tell you something else really cool. The next time you're in that courthouse yard, I want you to look closely at whatever benches you might see. Because each one of those benches was done by a different artist, a different local artist with ties right here to Cott County. And each one of those benches has a different state symbol on it. So Miss Mika had talked with you last time about how our state flower, our official state flower, is the iris. If you look in the front, the Broadway Street side of the courthouse, there's a yellow bench that has some pretty purple irises painted on it. It sure does. There is a red bench that has the Tennessee walking horse on it. There sure is. And one of my favorite benches is around the back up next to a tree, has a raccoon on it. It's a really cool bench. And that was just a little project that was done because before all that work was done and those awesome artists painted these really cool pictures of our state symbols to see, we had benches around our courthouse that were kind of falling apart. The paint was peeling on them. Some of them were sort of cracked. And while they worked, you could sit on them. They worked for a bench just fine. They really weren't very pretty to look at. So after we had several different organizations in our community came together and did this big beautification project to refurbish and paint all these benches, not only were they a little bit nicer to sit on because they didn't have any peeling paint or cracks in them anymore, now they're also beautiful to look at because they have these beautiful images of different state symbols of the state of Tennessee. One has our flag, just all kinds of different ones. So next time you're down there, I want you to try to look closely at whatever bench you happen to walk by and see if you can recognize the state symbol that is on that bench and point it out to whoever you're with. And you could say, hey, I know some of the people that helped to beautify the courthouse yard with those cool benches, okay? Some other kinds of beautification. We don't see a whole lot of these around here, but if you've done any traveling around to any cities, anywhere else, you probably have our sculptures, right? So we might take Play-Doh or modeling clay, and we might make, a little person, or I used to like to make snakes when I was a kid because they're easy. You can roll it out in your hand. We might use those to make little sculptures for ourselves. Well, there are some sculptors that are artists that take and make big statues. And that is another cool, awesome way to beautify an area with art by making statues. Or sometimes welders might make art. They might make abstract art by using their torch to weld different kinds of metals together in fun ways. Knoxville at Croach Park, there's some really cool different forms of art. You can just walk through the park and you can see different kinds of sculptures and different things that artists have put together that's really fun to look at. And now let's just take just a minute too and let's talk about, so we've talked about a mural, right? And we've talked about different kinds of ways that we use art to beautify our communities and our neighborhoods. I want to talk to you about one other thing. Let's talk for just a minute about graffiti. Now, what is graffiti? We've all seen some kind of graffiti before, right? Whether it was something somebody scratched into a desk and they shouldn't have, or something that got written on the bathroom wall that didn't belong there, or something that maybe got painted on a train car. We say that a lot on the box cars of the trains that get parked places. There's something that's been spray painted there. Sometimes we might see ugly things on underpasses and bridges and different places. And now sometimes we might see some graffiti that looks really colorful and pretty and cool. And that can kind of seem like art. Maybe it is. But there's a big difference in the mural that we see on the yoga studio in downtown Newport of our passion flower and any kind of graffiti that we might see on a bridge or on a train car. The big difference is that mural was put there on purpose by a property owner who wanted it there. So when we're going to put a mural up somewhere in Cott County in downtown Newport, we have to go to our council and we have to ask for permission. They have to give us a permit that says it's okay for us to put the mural there. And the person who owns the building, the wall, the property, has to say that it's okay that they want it there. And they're probably even going to pay the artist to put it there. Or we're going to do a fundraiser to pay for the supplies and to pay for the artist's time to put it there. The graffiti that's on the train car, they did not have permission to put it there. It was not okay for them to do that. So even though sometimes we might see some graffiti somewhere that looks kind of like cool art, the big difference in art for beautification and graffiti is that they have permission. If you scratch your initials on the school desk, that is not okay. That if you draw something on the bathroom wall at school, that is not okay. That is not art. That's graffiti. It is against the rules for us to deface someone else's property. And you're probably going to get in big trouble for it, right? So always remember that the big difference between our public art for beautification and graffiti is permission. And while there are lots of awesome ways we can use our artistic skills and talents to make the world a more beautiful place and to help people feel joy by seeing different forms of art, it's really important that we go through the right outlets and that we have the proper permissions to do these things. So I want you all to think a little bit more about different ways that you can use art to beautify. And if you like any kind of form of art, I would like to challenge you on your own time to create some kind of artwork and use it to make a place a little bit more beautiful. It might just be that you draw a pretty picture and you ask a grown-up to hang it on their refrigerator. Okay? It might be that you take your Play-Doh and that you make a little sculpture out of it. It can be all kinds of things. It might be that you might see that you got a board loose on the porch and you might ask a grown-up to go and help you repair that board. It can be all kinds of different things, okay? So take your time and see if you can, on your own time, come up with some kind of way to use your energy to make some place around you a little bit more beautiful through art or other ways of beautification. And don't forget, the next time that you're going through downtown Newport, I want you to look and see if you can spot those colorful courthouse benches on the front and back lawn of the courthouse if you haven't seen them already. If you get to walk through the yard and look closely at them, see if you can recognize any of those state symbols. And the next time you're cruising down through Broadway, I want you to see if you can spot that passion flower mural. That's a big purple passion flower that's just hiding on that wall there at 325 East Broadway on the yoga studio. See if you can see that and point it out to whoever you're with and say, that's a mural, and that was a good beautification project for our town. All right, I hope you all enjoyed our lesson today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.